Hey everybody, it's Rick Jansen back in Denver, and I have Monica Janowiak in Las Vegas here today. And what's exciting about Monica's background, first of all, welcome Monica.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to do just a quick 15-minute segment, a couple times a week, and what we're going to be talking about plays to Monica's unique background, which she was a recruiter for one of the big franchises. And so she has really good experience on how to grow a team, grow a brokerage, identify and attract top talent. So why don't you, where do you want to dive in? It's
wow. That's a big ask for right now, but let's see, where do we start?
How do you identify top talent?
You know, it's easy. You could do the age old, going in and checking and see people's, their production, or you can just kind of, what's going around in the city and what you're hearing and what you're seeing all over the place. Attracting them is the hard part, but when you figure it out, it actually gets to be pretty easy. And it's not about grabbing them and trying to get as many as you can to you. It's about, hey, let me kind of just give you an idea of what we have going on over here. If it's something that you want to talk a little bit more about, then let's do that. And usually that conversation goes pretty well. Every once in a while you get the hard no. And that's okay too. If they're happy, they're happy, and you definitely don't want to interrupt somebody's flow.
Yeah.
So moving from there, it's all about building the relationship and getting people to trust you, that you're not there to sell them. You're actually there to give them information and let them make the decision.
Absolutely. And it's getting that foot in the door, right? So starting off, if you're trying to build a small team or trying to build, yesterday I talked to a brokerage, they were like 3 days old.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
And they were trying to recruit me, right? I was like, oh, I'm flattered. But, and I ended up just kind of giving them some advice too. Like, hey, this is how you can actually grow your brokerage. You've got 6 agents. You did 40 million last year. Now you've put yourself together to create this cool little brokerage. And I love your branding. Love where you're going with this. But I really thought they could have done a better job trying to recruit me, right? Because it was just a cold text out of nowhere, just like, hey, you want to chat, and a name and a link. I was like, is this spam? Is this from South
Africa? I got that same one too. It's there's something to be said about going in cold, because that is part of the job, is going in and saying, hey, I don't know you, you don't know, but can we talk? And that's hard in and of itself for somebody to say, yeah, I don't know you, but yeah, let's talk. They have to be pretty angry with their place to want to just dive in right there and chat with somebody that they've never heard of before. So a lot of it has to do with the relationship building, and not like we got to be best friends and you got to know who I am and I'm the best and we're the best. You need to join us. It's more of, hey, let's talk. And it's always more about the let's talk and finding out what hurts. If they're talking to you, something hurts. and it's that point of, okay, again, I'm not trying to sell you. I want to see if what we have can fix your boo-boo. For lack of a better word, if there's something that we have that can fix that pain that you're going through, then yeah, let's go. Let's keep talking.
Right. So a lot of times you call someone up, then they give you their public face, the social media face. Everything's fine. My production's fantastic. I've got leads coming out of my ears. I'm just practically minting money, right? That's the social media face. Then you're not going to be able to recruit from that or grow your team going from that to, hey, well, you're going to make more with us. You're going to be happier with us. You're going to have better everything with us. Going from a positive present to a positive future doesn't work well.
Right.
And so, but identifying a pain point, how do you identify that pain point that might make them, share without getting uncomfortable?
And the hard part too is, especially if they've been with their brokerage for a long time, it's a lot to do with, yeah, there's this and this bothering me, but I know the enemy here. I know how to work through it. I know how to figure it out. If I jump ship and I go over there, you're telling me all this wonderful stuff, but how do I know that my pain is actually going to get fixed there? So
Right.
that is one of the barriers. And that's actually probably, as far as I'm concerned, that's the hardest one, because they know their pain and how to deal with it. They don't know where they're going to, and it's just like any other relationship. It's like, all right, this one's not great, but I'll just this one because I know how this one works. So, and making them feel comfortable, and actually, what's worked for me is having them talk to people who have gone through that exact same pain, and come to where we are, and say, yeah, this works over here a lot better. I have somebody that I'm speaking with that they're having a lot of problems with compliance and process right now at their brokerage, and it's enough that they're very, very uncomfortable, but leaving is also very, very hard. So explaining that process, yeah, there's a learning curve, definitely a learning curve. But once you get past that learning curve, everything is a nice smooth sail. Every
Right.
once in a while, there's a few bumps, but right.
Yeah. So did you attract? We're speaking. Our audience right now is independent brokers, team leaders, people at franchises, people not at franchises, indie brokers. Do you attract to a tool? Do you attract to software? Do you attract to a marketing brand? Do you attract to a national flag, a local leader? What do you use when you were a professional recruiter? Like, what was your hook?
Well, it was a national brand, a very big national brand, global, and it was kind of the big name, and especially where I come from, that name was very, very, very big. So that part was very, very easy. So. But a lot of people were afraid of the big name and what it meant to be part of this big name, and what would become of me in this big giant sea, and that sort of thing. The attraction to the brand was actually, it was positive and a negative, simply because, especially if I was bringing people over from boutiques, smaller 1, 2, 3 people, or people who were just independent brokers on their own, the big name kind of sometimes was like, well, wow, and what about this? And I bet there's a lot of money behind that, and I'm not going to get any of my commission. And debunking those myths was the first, and telling them, yes, I know what you've heard in the past, but this is what we have right here. Where I'm at now seems to be a little bit better. But
so when you're talking to people, facts tell, stories sell.
Sure.
Right. So how do you use testimonials of people who have gone before the person you're talking to now? How do you leverage a testimonial and pair that up with somebody, like get that social proof?
That was kind of the nice part of, when you get to know all the agents and that you're working with, and build the relationships with everybody. Got relationships everywhere anyways, no matter where you go. And it was always nice to be able to call on those people that were now my friends and say, hey, would you mind having a chat with this person, and just kind of letting them know, this issue is not what you think. There is really no, and am I answering your question properly?
Yeah,
kind of pairing people up and saying, hey, let's chat with this person. If you get them on the phone, would you be interested in having a conversation with them and letting them explain to you how things actually are, instead of what a lot of people think. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I did my best.
And it's also, I think personally, the temptation is to speak a lot, right? As someone who's attracting agents, recruiting agents, whatever that might be. But really, I think the key is in listening, right?
Oh, absolutely. And again, in any relationship, and between you and I, even speaking, and husband and wife, any relationship, the more you listen, the more actually gets done. So again, it's our nature to want to throw up on everybody and say this and that, and we've got this, and we're so good, and kind of like when people are talking about their children or their new boyfriend or girlfriend, or they just want to say everything and they're the best and everything. But sometimes it's the most important thing to do is to, okay, you tell me as much as you can, and just keep asking questions and questions and questions, and pretty soon you get a nice big clear picture of everything that their wants and needs and their desires. And everybody, when you're happy and comfortable where you're just going to be naturally more productive and excited about going to work every day. So
right. And ultimately, no matter where people hang their license or what brand they're building, they want to enjoy work, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
They want leads to come in, they want to be closing deals, and they want to be doing it in a way that doesn't compromise their personal life too much.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right. And they want to do it with people that they feel are going to support them.
Right. And the more support that you have, where I am now, I feel like it doesn't matter what my questions are, they're going to be answered, because there's a million people who can answer basically any question that I have, anyhow, anywhere, anytime, any place. So I love that aspect of it. But, back to the one-on-one relationship between, a recruiter and somebody that they're speaking with in regards to joining their team. It's all about making everybody feel comfortable and at ease of that they're going to have that support, that they're going to have those tools, that every question is always going to be answered, and they know that 100% they're going to get that answer somehow, some way from somebody. And we need to make sure that as the first person that they meet as a recruiter, that oftentimes is us. That person is the first person they go to when they don't know what to do or where to go. So you got to be ready to be able to do that.
Question for you: like, how are recruiters compensated? So let's say I don't care whether you're at a Balloon or a Big Red or a Big Blue or anybody else, Big Black, like all these other brands out there. Like, how are recruiters actually compensated? Is that a salary job? Is that commission?
Well, I was a recruiter at two different franchises for the same company. They each did a little different. But to be as short and sweet and to the point, was you were compensated based on when they join. So when they join, you get a commission, a one-time commission, basically is what you get.
Okay.
A little bit of salary and a commission based on oops.
That sounds like a landline.
Commission based on when they join, and that's pretty much kind of it. There was there's nothing after that. Where I'm at now, it's much different. So
yeah. Well, I was talking to she was a recruiter, or she is a recruiter at a big indie here in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like they had done something very smart, because they had her hooked on a longer term income policy.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It seemed like she was getting some sort of ownership interest in what she grew, because she was going to have a hard time leaving that, and she was tempted to. But it was fascinating, because I was wondering, like, for recruiters who are one and done,
mm-hmm.
like, it's all about top of funnel, right?
Well,
I mean, you got to be just throwing a lot of sand at the top of the funnel, pouring it through and seeing what sticks, because you've got to sign bodies up, and it's up to the owner to keep the bodies. But it's like, you just got to keep putting them in if you want a paycheck, right?
Yeah, I feel like there's a flaw in that, a big flaw in that, and that is, there's no incentive to keep those people there. There's two parts of recruiting, and that's recruiting and retention.
Right.
That retention part is very, very important. And as a recruiter, I was not at 100% not involved. So once that person came in, technically I was done. That did not feel comfortable for me, though.
So here's a question I would ask is,
sure.
And we're going to wrap up. We're going to do this twice a week, ongoing. I love sharing with Monica and picking her brain. But here's something to think about when you're talking to a recruiter, when you're thinking about switching firms. What is the motivation of the person signing you up? And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I mean, getting paid is an awesome motivation, right?
That's why we all go to work.
Right? So getting paid is an awesome motivation. But do they have motivation to hire you, or do they have motivation to retain you? Because they can hire the best salesperson possible to put a really great spin on stuff, bring you into the firm, because that's when Bob gets paid. Right. And if Bob's up there, or Mary's up there, Yolanda, Juan, whoever, if they're up there getting paid only when you come on board, they might be really good at getting you on board. But you got to look under the hood. You got to ask some people who've been there. You got to talk to people who have left there. What's going on, right? And people who left, that they can be jaded, but you got to really do some deep dives. And one of the things we can offer up to you, if you call either one of us, we have friends that do work out, or have worked out, or have left, or have joined all the major brands around the country, around the globe. They have, from luxury boutique to little independent to flat fee, whatever it might be. If you want an out-of-market perspective, if you're thinking about changing brokerages and you're like, hey, I need to call someone, and you're in Texas, I need to talk to someone in Oklahoma who won't know that I'm shopping. I want to get their perspective on this brand. We'll put you in touch.
Yes.
Right? So, and if you're in like Illinois, we'll put you in touch with someone in California who can speak to the brand nationally, or what it's like to work for an indie broker locally. We'll put you in touch with somebody if you're thinking about switching firms, and we'll give you that little gut check. If we can't do it ourselves, we're tied into 52,000 people around the country who will give us that information. So.
And that's great information to have. Like I said, that's that one-on-one conversation with somebody who has switched and can speak specifically to that. And like you said, we have that all over the place. So I love the fact that we have that. It's quite a, I hate to use the word tool. It is a tool, but it's kind of more of a, it's actually more of a gift to be able to give that to people, to prospects. So,
I don't, quite frankly, like wherever you go, right? I mean, every different models, like there are models for everybody, right? Flat fee models, indie models, revenue share models, whatever it might be. But let us put you in touch with people who can help you make that decision. In any event, we've run long. Good to see you. I'm looking forward to our next show. And everybody else, have a great weekend. We're recording this on a Friday.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.